Good morning, everybody. My name is Nicola and I am simply a stitcher. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, it's lovely to have you, and if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back and spending some time with me today. So today I thought I'd just have a little stitch with me. This is like my sort of chatty version, and this will be going out on Tuesday the 25th of November, and stitch with me number 24. I think it's 24. Yes, 24. So today I'm stitching on Heaven and Earth Designs Envy, and the cat is being an absolute pain in the neck today, so I don't know what's wrong with her, but she won't eat food and she keeps bugging me. But anyway, that's by the by. Yeah, Heaven and Earth Designs Envy, and this has been stitched on 25 count Lugana 1/1 full cross. It is mainly sort of filling stitches in. This is just a bit more sort of the background, and as you can see here, we've got this line coming down. That's the line of her dress. Let me just bring up the mock-up. Cat, go away. She's such a pest today, she really is. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see there, that is what we have here. So yeah, you know, cat, come on, off. Do you want to see where she is? Right here. Pesky kitty cat, aren't you? Eh? There we go. A little bit of catty goodness. If you like cats, this one is a pain in the neck. So yeah, 25 count 1/1. So yeah, we'll just have a little bit of so I just tighten my camera thingy up, a little bit of stitchy time, and see where we get. It's lots of filling stitches, I'm afraid, this morning, so there's not going to be a lot of sorry, just trying to get the camera right. Not going to be an awful lot of variety, I'm afraid, but it is what it is. Okay, cat, you're being a pest. Come on, jump down. Oh, thank you. Why is that coming loose? Oh, I don't know if you heard that, but she just had one of those meows where you think that she were being killed. There we go. Anyway, right. So, yeah. Like I said, this is just going to be a bit of filling, but gives me the opportunity just to sort of chit chat and be able to not worry that I'm getting something wrong, because with it being filling in, I can't possibly go wrong, she says, hopefully. So I hope everybody is doing well. I am currently on annual leave from work. It is my last block of annual leave this year, and I'm sort of enjoying, you know, the bit of downtime, really. It's nice to, you know, to sort of get that, have that break just before Christmas. It means that I can crack on, get my Christmas shopping done, and, you know, have a bit of, you know, rest and relaxation before silly season is upon us. December's usually a busy month for me because it's Hannah's birthday. My eldest daughter is 21, just before Christmas. Obviously we have Christmas and New Year. It's my birthday then in January. I'm working in between, and then, you know, we've got things like I have a work Christmas do, and you know, other, you know, things and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's you know, December is usually a busy month. So there we go. I think our plans for Christmas, we always spend Christmas at home. Although one year I would love to sort of be able to be somewhere else for Christmas and see what the experience is like of not being at home. You know, maybe go abroad, you know, or, you know, somewhere in the UK that's pretty quiet and isolated. But having said that, it's nice and quiet here over Christmas. It's, generally speaking, the neighbourhood is quiet. But yeah, we have a few Christmas traditions in this house. I don't know how ours match up with yours, but we tend to start on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve, I generally finish work if it's a weekday at around sort of 2 o'clock. Rest of Christmas Eve afternoon is spent doing, maybe a bit of baking, or preparation for the Christmas dinner, so like vegetable prep and so on. Christmas Eve meal is normally a Chinese takeaway. Andy brought that tradition to us. He likes Chinese food on Christmas Eve, and we've just kind of stuck with that. Christmas Day, we tend to be up relatively early, 6 o'clock-ish. Mind you, having said that, that's a lie-in for me, because I'm normally up any time after 5. So yes, we get up relatively early. The girls unwrap their gifts, and as soon as gifts are over with, we have a family breakfast, and it's normally smoked salmon and scrambled eggs, and sometimes with a bit of bacon or sausage or whatever thrown in as well, depending on what the girls want. Usually Bucks Fizz as well, so we start off Christmas Day right. And I normally have at least one guest on Christmas Day. My stepdad comes here every year, and he has done since my mum passed away. In fact, he's come here every year since I've lived here. Yeah, he has, every year since I've lived here. So he comes here Christmas Day for lunch. And my brother usually comes, but I don't know if he'll come this year. I think Andy's parents are also going to join us this year. They've not been here with us for a while at Christmas. I usually invite my stepdad to come at any point during the morning that he's ready to come, simply because he's on his own. And I think that for him, it's nice for him to have company for as much of the day as possible. So he'll normally sort of turn up about, sort of late morning. We serve our Christmas Day lunch, our main meal, for around about 2 o'clock. And I usually have 2 or 3 different types of roast meat. I always have some turkey, but I also have maybe some pork or gammon, some, either beef or chicken, something else. And then we have all the usual accoutrements. So pigs in blankets, very popular in this house. Vegetables, so peas, carrots, broccoli, roast parsnips, roast potatoes, sweet corn. We kind of go plenty of vegetables on Christmas Day. We always have Yorkshire puddings. I know some people don't on a Christmas dinner, but we always have Yorkshire pudding. And then for afters, we'll have things like, there'll always be like cheesecake or ice cream or something like that, or mince pies and cream or custard or whatever people want. There's a selection of puddings to choose from. So that is what we do on Christmas Day lunch. And then we have all the usual things like, crackers, and we normally have a tradition. I'll buy a family game. So something like a few years back we had Cards Against Humanity. We've had a few sort of times over Christmas where we've had a game, Cards Against Humanity, we've had air hockey, we've had Twister, we've had one or two other sort of bits and pieces. So I think it's quite nice to do something like that to get us all together around the table. Uno, we've done Uno, bingo, all sorts of stuff. So, you know, we tend to sort of try after lunch to have continued time around the table so that, you know, we can all interact together, if that makes sense. Then sort of late afternoon, early evening, my stepdad normally goes home. Last year, Hannah, my eldest daughter, went with him and stayed the night. So he wasn't on his own. I don't know if she's got plans to do that this year. I would presume so. And then the evenings tend to be very quiet. The kids go off and, you know, spend time with their presents. And Andy and I will sort of sit and relax. I might get a bit of stitching out. Andy will, you know, probably be on his computer. Or, you know, watching something or playing a game or whatever on his phone. And, you know, after the massive Christmas dinner, it's a case of then, you know, if you are hungry, you know where the cupboards are. Help yourself, you know. As soon as Christmas dinner is over, that is it. The cook's apron is off, and it's, you know, every man for himself, as it were. Sort yourselves out. Then Boxing Day, we normally have like a buffet style lunch. So usually cold meat, pickles, you know, that kind of thing. And that's normally quite popular. And again, for tea, again, we do that quite late. We sort of have a bit of a repeat of Christmas Day, but without the presents, because I do cook another breakfast. We have a buffet style lunch, and then again in the evening it's catch what you can. If you are still hungry, you know where the cupboards are. Then between Christmas and New Year, oh, excuse me, coffee. It's still relatively early here, it's 8 o'clock. Between Christmas and New Year, I'm usually back working. Andy also generally works as well. And then at New Year, we have like a roast beef for New Year's Day dinner. New Year's Eve, we again have like a buffet evening. So we have like cold meats and pickles, but we also put some hot stuff on as well. Almost like a party, but, you know, without the tons of guests. And, you know, I mean, we don't do lots of alcohol in this house either. So, yeah. And then New Year's Eve, we tend to stop up until the chimes, and then, you know, we're in bed a few minutes later. Oh, here comes the cat again. Yeah, that's really about it, apart from sort of New Year's Day roast beef dinner. And that's the way it goes. And then, of course, you know, a couple of weeks later, it's my birthday, and everybody's skint. It's just after Christmas, everybody's spent up. I mean, obviously, you know, I've said before, we're going through an expensive sort of cost of living crisis here in the UK, as I know that, you know, people are the world over. So things are getting quite expensive at the moment. I don't think that I'll spend as much on Christmas this year. Everybody will have, you know, what they want. The girls have already kind of selected a main gift. Yeah, I should be looking to not economise, that's the wrong word. I don't think you should ever economise at Christmas, but I'm not going to be sort of ostentatious about it either. I'm going to be sensible and stay within a reasonable budget that doesn't break the bank, really. So yeah, it's getting a little colder here. I don't know about sort of where you are in the world. In the previous week we've had heavy rain. There was one day Andy came home from work and he was literally sodden through to the skin and had to completely strip off and go and have a shower to warm up. So we're definitely seeing some more autumnal stroke wintry weathers coming in. I've had a day or two where I've actually felt rather cold, but it is what it is, and we can't do anything about it. I'm surprised where I live. I actually live on a hill, but the town in which I live in has previously had issues with flooding, and I'm surprised that on the last lot of rain that we had, we didn't end up with a lot of flooding again. So I can't see my pattern keeper. Pesky cat. I am quite looking forward to Christmas and festive season. I do enjoy Christmas. It's a lot of work, but I do enjoy it because everybody's together, the family are together. I remember the Christmases I used to have when I was a child. I was born in the 70s, and there were times when we literally didn't have anything. And I can remember Christmases as a child and my mum doing something very similar, except whereas we tend to buy a turkey crown or a turkey joint, my mother would have like a full turkey and be up at sort of 6 a.m. to put it in the oven, which I never kind of understood because she used to serve her dinner at sort of 2 o'clock. I did a full turkey once year and it was not in the oven at 6 a.m. We were in the kind of house where we had a dining room and we had a living room, and the living room was only used in the evening. But on Christmas Day, obviously we had our presents in there, and then we'd have a nice breakfast, and then my mum would always save a present for after dinner for us. It were almost like to make Christmas Day last just that little bit longer. So the main present was sort of under the tree, and stayed there until after you'd had your meal. I did that once with the girls. They all asked me, believe it or not, one year for roller skates, roller boots. And I kept telling them, oh, I've not been able to get them. I need to take you to size them, and I can't get you down there, and and I managed to buy them these boots which were actually size adjustable, so it wasn't an issue. And I kept them secret. And this Christmas that we had, I said to them, I'm really sorry, but you just haven't got a main present. Oh, that's okay, Mum. And I could see disappointment on their faces. And after dinner, we got them to help with the washing up. And then Andy nipped off upstairs and brought down these 3 wrapped boxes. And they were so happy. you know, and they put them on literally like straight away, and you know, wants to go out and skate straight away, and it was quite funny. Bless them. But I don't know if I'd do that again because you know it was very difficult because I was excited, and I didn't, you know, uh, I didn't think I could sort of keep the secret, but I managed to. But yeah, my mum used to always have, used to generally have just us at Christmas. Although I do remember one year when my grandparents, my dad's parents came, um, they used to generally come at Easter rather than Christmas. Um, and for them, they were the kind of people where I never knew my grandparents to be working. I always knew them to be retired. My grandma didn't work. She was a housewife, and my granddad was a miner. And I sort of tend to remember, like I said, them as retired people. And in that, no matter when you went to the house, there was always somebody there. The house was never empty. Um, Family helped to do the shopping. My granddad would nip off up the allotment, but my grandma, she was a homebody. She stayed in pretty much all the time. I mean, there were times when they used to go out for a drink and, you know, go to the local, you know, working man's club or whatever, but generally speaking, I never saw those times because I was too young. But generally speaking, there was always somebody in that house. So, you know, for them to come out in the daytime and have nobody in the house was a relative rarity. But, you know, they were the kind of family where they lived on one road, the son lived on the next road, the daughter lived on the road on the opposite side. We lived, you know, sort of a mile away, you know, very close knit, which, you know, doesn't happen now. Flipping cat has slathered on my pattern keeper. She's a monkey. She really is. Ugh. Cat slather. There was always a New Year party as well. My grandparents always hosted a New Year party. And that was because one of them had a birthday on the 30th of December and the other's birthday was on the 31st. One of their daughters, my auntie, her birthday was Boxing Day. So there were lots of reasons to celebrate, and I do remember them having New Year's parties. And I remember everybody being very drunk because my granddad used to make his own wine. And yeah, I remember, you know, everybody being, you know, those were the times when, you know, families went round to each other's houses and, you know, laid on a buffet and everybody got drunk. You know, and it were happy, but they were happy times. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some moments where there were fights and stuff break out. It happens within families, but generally speaking, they were happy times. Yeah, I remember them Christmases as a kid. I remember a few Christmases as well as an adult where I've been working. Um, I've worked in hospitals and care settings where, you know, I've been required to work over Christmas. And that's always difficult, but worthwhile. Especially when, you know, when particularly, it's no fun being in hospital for Christmas, but also particularly for um, people in care homes. They may not even get a visitor. Um, yeah, I've done that, you know, a couple of times, and I often felt quite sad. It seems impossible that, you know, nobody is around to visit somebody who's in a care home. But, you know, then again, people lose touch with families, uh, family members pass away, family members move away. I don't know. It just always, because I suppose really with growing up with a close-knit family, it just always sort of baffled me a little bit, but there we go. I also remember working in a pub at one point over Christmas period, during Christmas and New Year. That was always interesting as well. Of course, if you're working behind a bar, you can't sort of join in and have a drink yourself. You've got to wait until everybody's gone. I was living and working at this pub that I worked in, and sorry, just counting. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, living and working there, and that was quite an experience. I've never done the let's go out for Christmas dinner thing. I mean, it's so expensive. I've seen some sort of advertised, and you're looking sort of £50 plus per head. With there being sort of 5 of us, that's £250 before you even have a drink. And you could pretty much guarantee that the girls would be like, "Oh, I don't like this, I don't like that." And I just think, well, it's not value for money. I mean, when I can put together a Christmas meal for, sort of 7 or 9 of us, depending on how many come, for less than that, it just doesn't, for me, seem worthwhile. Yes, you've got somebody else doing all the cooking and the washing up and all the rest of it, but for some of us, that's half the fun of Christmas. Is having that, be together and cook and be together and wash up and, I did say though, like I said, I would like to spend some time a Christmas elsewhere, whether it be in another country or elsewhere in England. I don't know. Wait! Oh, flipping heck. That cat's got a flaming fur ball. Ugh. That's probably why she's not eating her breakfast. Little monkey. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I think I'd like to go and spend Christmas elsewhere at one point, just once, just to see what it's like. I'm not bothered about more than once. But that's something we'd have to see about in the future. I mean, the girls are sort of now getting to the point where Victoria's got a boyfriend and, and so on, so they might want to start to spend Christmas elsewhere. I don't know. I would like to think that they'd want to come home and spend Christmas at home, but who knows? Who knows? So yeah, for Christmas that's sort of how it goes for us. I don't know about anybody else who's watching this, if you have any thoughts or traditions that, you know, perhaps you do that are similar to mine. I'd be particularly interested to hear, if you're not in the UK, do you have a local tradition or something that's very local to you that we would not know about, you know? Yeah, I think I'd quite like to hear. I don't know what I'm getting for Christmas this year. There's nothing really that I need, if I'm honest. All I want is just, you know, my family around me. That's it. There's nothing really on my wish list. I haven't planned what to get Andy yet. And as I said, you know, for the children, the girls have all given me an idea of what they want. We've got a Polaroid camera, some hair straighteners, and a tattoo, of all things. So me, a trip to the seaside would suit me down to the ground. A day at the sea. I tend to get those quite a bit anyway. And I know that Andy's planning a trip for us in February. So, yeah. So when you're watching this video, I will not be at home because I'm pre-recording this so I can release it on the Tuesday as normal. I will be in Staffordshire having a few days away, and he's doing some filming for his channel, and I'll be taking advantage of the time away. And then when I come back, I'll have another week to get Christmas done and wrapped. And then, yeah, back to work for a bit. I have a wedding as well to go to. That's the other thing that's making December a busy month. There's a wedding. A 21st, a staff meal, stroke night out, stroke whatever, a Christmas and New Year. I am hoping to do as well, potentially instead, if I can get my plans done, instead of an alternative stitch with me, I want to do a finish stroke whip stroke plans parade, because what I've decided next year, I've got lots of kits or patterns, so I figured that yes, I'm still going to be working on my full coverage, but as I said, I'm going to put my full coverage goal down to 500 stitches a day, and then also every month I'm going to start a new small or kit. So it might be like the Flower Fairies kit I was talking about. There's 2 in there, so that could be 2 of the monthly starts. And like I said, I've got a few kits knocking about which I do want to get sort of started, to have a look at this Disney part work and if there's anything from there and so on that jumps out at me to stitch. There's a couple of things from the World of Cross Stitching and Cross Stitching magazines that I'd like to stitch as well. So I figured if I plan 1 new start a month, with the exception of June and December, and in those 2 months I want to dedicate anything that is not full coverage stitching time to completing those kits. So those are sort of my months where I aim for a finish. So say for example, if in January I bring out one of the Flower Fairy kits that I bought, if I don't finish that during the month of January, I will then set it aside to pick up in June, to finish in June, and then start another one in February. And again, if I don't finish that in February, set it aside for June. So January, February, March, April, May, and then July, August, September, October, November will all have a new start, a small-ish new start. Certainly not a big full coverage. What I'm talking about is something that's like A4 size or thereabouts and not full coverage. So I figured if I did that, potentially I could have 10 finishes next year. So I've just now got to sort of decide what starts. I need to find, something just went ping. I need to find 10 new starts, or 10 kits, or 10 projects. So perhaps if I get a chance in the second week of my annual leave, I might go and have a little dig and see what I can find. I've got a couple of some stamped cross stitching as well that that are all in kits that I could use potentially. But I think I'd like to try and get them in as counted if I can. I think that's going to be a plan. So what I'll try and do on each day is I get to 500 day on my full coverage, and then the other time of the day dedicate to a small. I've got a Mirabilia that I could start. In fact, I've got an Aura Corbett as well, but I'm still can't get hold of the speciality threads for it. If I can get hold of the speciality threads, I might start my Nora And a mirror, like I said, I've got a Mirabilia, I've got 2 flower fairies, I've got one of a geisha that my friend gave me, and a number of others. So the plan is 500 stitches on the full coverage, then switch to the non-full coverage. And if I finish it in that month, happy days. If I don't finish it in that month, it just gets set aside for June finishing. So, and then add on to that, obviously I've got my, I think I worked it out as 8 current work in progresses. And that is Realm of Middle-earth, Envy, Maui Princess, Stitching Shelf, that's 4. Christmas Window is 5. Pandemic is 6. Polar Bear and Cub is 7. And my Dimensions kit is 8, the Lakeside Village. I mean, ideally, I'd like to get Polar Bear and Cub finished. Possibly my Dimensions kit as well. So yeah, so it's only like planned new starts. I think that's how I'm going to do it. It's a planned new starts. So 5 months, and then catch up on finishing on month 6 times 2, and we'll see how that works. I mean, obviously if I've finished a small and I can just put more time in my full coverage, happy days. If I don't finish the small, no harm, no foul, because I'll just do it later in the month. I've also got, you know, to be fair, lots of small stuff, lots of little kits, cover kits, and that sort of thing. So I could plough on and get a few of them done as well. You know, maybe aim for, I don't know, 1 of those a week. Because a small kit would take no more than sort of 5 hours to do, really, realistically. Whether or not, though, that'd work, who knows. Right. I have had enough of this grey colour now, because I've done. See how many I've done. I've done nearly 200 stitches so far, which isn't bad. Let's fill in that one. Okay. I think as well with me going with my plan of having a master set of threads that I talked about in my floss tube, that I will, you know, be able to sort of pick off the threads easier than opening up little plastic bags. It's funny, isn't it, how a few stitches can just all of a sudden make a piece. When you just fill in those little gaps. it all looks so disjointed until you put in the last couple of stitches, and then it's like, ah, yeah, I can see it now. Come on, in the hole, thank you. I don't know what I'll do if I finish a big project next year. I don't know if I'll start another one. I mean, I still haven't done my New Year New Start. I could just make that a New Year New Start next year and actually start it. Or a birthday start and actually start it. My birthday start last year was my Lorna Lane kit, the Black Cat and Butterflies, the Gecko Rouge one. I think I've pretty much decided as well that the New Year New Start Supersized Max Colour Leonin Afromov piece, I want to do that in 10 stitch because it's nearly 1,000,000 stitches, and to do it all in full cross it's going to be much quicker and you see progress much better with 10 stitch, so 2 over 2 tenths. I am going to go and re-watch Needle Ninja Stitch With Me's on her World Travel Bookshelf, because she is doing that 2 over 1 10th stitch, and I want to sort of study the method that she uses and see if that would be for me. It might be the only way I can kind of keep control of it, or whether or not I do it in a similar manner to my current Amy Stewart and do a variation on the typewriter method. Not decided yet. But I do hope that, I mean, this one's at 13%, my Princess at 37% at the moment. In terms of next finishes for the large full coverage, it's definitely either going to be this, if I get really sort of stuck in on it, which is 240,000 stitches, or Maui Princess, which is 217,000, and I've done about 80,000 on it. Whether or not I'll get one of them finished one of these two finished next year, who knows. Anyway, I have been waffling on far too long, nearly 50 minutes of rambling, and we have got all this grey here done, and then we've also filled in a few stitches, so now this, I believe, is fully visible. So just going to zoom out. So, excuse me, I am going to go and get another cup of coffee and put the washing machine back on, because I had to stop it to do this video, and I will see you all later in the week for another video. Haven't decided what it's going to be yet. Could be an unboxing, could be a parade, could be another stitch with me. Not got there yet. Other than that, we will see you next week for a floss tube. All right, so take care, everybody. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you real soon. Bye bye for now.